Oh. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ربنا آتنا من لدنك رحمة وهيئ لنا من أمرنا رشدا. رب لا تذرني فردا وأنت خير الراحمين. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا اغفر لي ولوالدي وللمؤمنين يوم يقوم الحساب. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي واجعل لي وزيرا من أهلي هارون أخي اشدد به أزري وأشركه في أمري كي نسبحك كثيرا ونذكرك كثيرا إنك كنت بنا بصيرا. وصل اللهم على محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه وسلم. ربنا اغفر لنا وارحمنا وأنت خير الراحمين. آمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. Inshallah, we will continue to study the section Araf, and we studied up to verse 150. And this section, this part of the section Araf was about the story of Moses. And we came to this point. He went just to meet God in his appointment in his appointment with God. We discussed this. What does it mean, really? Or do I have an appointment with God? All this practical relationship with me and my Creator. We discussed that within the context of my real life. And then afterwards, we will read now, وَلَمَّا رَجَعَ مُوسَى إِلَىٰ قَوْمِهِ غَضْبَانَ أَسِفًا. When Moses returned to his people, angry and grieved, because they followed Samiri. Anyone in the society, maybe a scientist, maybe a philosopher, maybe a knowledgeable person, doesn't matter, another person that the majority of the people trusted, at the absence of the prophet Moses, which we discussed again what it means to us now. For example, the prophet Muhammad is not with us now, and the Qur'an was revealed 1400 years ago according to the conditions of that time. And it was practically really very much related to the people who lived with in the time of the prophet, his contemporaries. But now, what are we going to do with this example, practical example of the Quran, which God presents to us? Look, within these conditions, I really guided people in this way, so you can apply it to your life now. And of course, it needs transformation of the application of it according to my practical life, because Quran was revealed within the practical life of the people when it was revealed first time under the guidance of the instruction of the prophet. We should never forget that Quran was revealed 1400 years ago. I see lots of confusions about it according to those conditions. And God presented, exhibited to us within 23 years of the prophetic life, it took the pagan society and transformed it into the most civilized people. And Mecca was nothing but became the center of almost the world power in 23 years, not in 23 years world power, but after 20 years afterwards, it became the center of the world power of the world. What does it mean? He conquered the heart of the people so that the people accepted it. But of course, there were some resistance against the prophets, teachings, and this administration. There was some resistance, which is inevitable where the people are, the discordance, disharmony should happen because people have free will. We shouldn't forget that. So we have to take this gradual training, educating the people as the Quran presented to us in the life, through the life of the Prophet in his living conditions. We have to try to understand it now. How can I apply to my living conditions? Now, فَلَمَّا رَجَعَ مُوسَى إِلَىٰ قَوْمِهِ غَضْبَانَ أَسِفًا. When Moses returned to his people, angry and grieved, because they started really going back to their previous conditions, previous to their in the Islamic history, it was called ignorance, the age of ignorance. It means they didn't know what the purpose of life, what the prophetic message was all about. So they didn't know it at that time. But then when the prophet came back, the prophet Moses came back, they were following what he has been trying to eradicate. And of course, many miracles he performed in front of the eyes of the people there. So they knew that Moses was employed by God, but he's not here now. So we have to find our own God. We have to understand that, look, the Quran was, some people may say, Quran was revealed 1400 years ago. Now I am not living that time so that I will see the practical side of the teachings of the Quran. So it is, I may say, or one may say, it is irrelevant to my life. It seems to be. So I have to find out my own way, my own God, if you like. Of course, we have to make up in the language of the Quran an idol. It means human beings need to follow something, admire at something, always see something is his or her ideal. So I have to follow this way. We may do the same thing. So, and the prophet came back, the prophet Moses came back. And of course, that is, we understand now why he was angry and he was grieved. It's human. I mean, if I educate and train somebody, or if you educate and train somebody, and he or she became aware of the truth and reality and started practicing it, and You left him or her, let's say him, for a while and came back up. All your teachings were thrown away into the dumpster. Oh, don't you get disappointed? Don't you get angry? It's human. If I see injustice going on, not only me, everybody, every human being, it's very human to be angry and try to do something. Of course, the anger is given to us to reject the wrongdoings or wrong way of understanding life, existence, misunderstanding, misrepresentation of the truth. So it is human. And that is why Qur'an tells me that when you get angry, not for my self-centric interest may be destroyed or may be damaged, well, that is not the purpose of the sense of anger to be used here. But against something not right, so you use this feeling, accordingly you take a step side. No, I'm not with you. No. And we have to feel grieved. We have to feel that something is going on. We cannot be indifferent. That is why this sense of grief in Arabic, esif and esef. So this sense of grief is given to us to be used. And how can I really be concerned with this matter and correct it, try to correct it? If I don't have any anger, any grief, I will remain as indifferent. I wouldn't do anything. I wouldn't take any action, initiate anything to make the situation better. These senses are given to us, and we have to understand that I have to use these senses in a right position, as it is presented to us in this verse, that the prophet Moses was disappointed because these people left the truth that he had tried his best to educate them, and then they left it. So he has to do something. That is why these senses are used as a source of motivation, incitement, and oh no, that's something wrong is going on here. I have to correct it. Yeah, these senses are really necessary. So we hear in other verses of the Quran about God's ghadab, this one. God's ghadab. Oh, God is angry. God is wrath, they would say. God is wrath. Oh, which kind of God he is? He is getting angry. No. God says the sense of ghadab, sense of anger in you, I am teaching you that it is from me, and you have to use it in the way that I am using it. How it is used in the Quran, God's ghadab, God's wrath is upon the people who leave the truth, deviate from the reality, and deny the guidance presented to God, presented by God to the people, and follow the wrong way. You have to take an action. God is demonstrating that, look, I have to take an action against your misguidance, and I need to correct the situation, turn the situation in a better way. So teaching human beings, they should use this human feeling, wrath, anger, in the positive way, not self-defense, not feeling offended because somebody insulted you. No. The truth is insulted. The truth is rejected. So we have to understand that God is teaching me where I should, my sense of anger, which is given to me by Him, by God, how I can really utilize it. Here, Moses is going to do in these examples. This is how we should read the Quran. Not saying which kind of God. He's not a loving God. He is full of wrath, anger. Don't you feel angry if you think that an exploitation of poor people, innocent people in front of you, an innocent man is harmed? Don't you try to correct the situation? Because you need to react. And this sense of reaction is needed. When the people completely lose their way and start doing injustice towards creation by interpreting it in the bad way, the wrong way, towards other innocent people, using their power, material power, or power of knowledge, and manipulating them, cheating them, as we see now in media going on, lots of cheatings, and in political life is really so widely applied there. So we have to take an attitude, reactive attitude, and try to correct it by utilizing the sense of anger. God is also, what does He do? If a people completely deviated from the truth, ran away from the truth, misguided, took the misguidance way, and started saying, insulting the creation, they mean nothing, I have nothing to do with it, they don't have an owner, they don't have a creator, I don't have a creator. God sends a prophet. And we say, and God says, I send a prophet to these people in order to really better their life and find the right way, establish the justice, establish a peaceful, just society. And this God is loving God. But if there is something wrong going on, for example, some people oppose the prophet and say, and claim that this prophet is a liar, don't listen to him. Excuse me, what happened? Okay. Don't listen to him and try to expel the prophet. What does it mean? They are not letting other people to learn the truth. Of course, God will take an action and say that, look, what you are doing is wrong. What I am trying to help you, to send you the prophet, to give you the guidance, and you will have a peaceful, just society, and you will be experiencing in your life peace, serenity, comfort, and harmony with the creation, happy with the creator. So you will be thankful, grateful to the creator. Now you are preventing it. You are preventing the people from taking the right attitude and understanding, having a peaceful life, not contradicting their reality. Of course, he has to do something. And he says, what you are doing is completely wrong. I don't agree with it. And I have to take precautions. And he says, I am angry with you now. I have to take precaution because you deserve punishment. For example, if somebody does something wrong, what do they do in any society? Any society, they punish him. Nowadays, they put him in prison, or in the extreme cases, they execute him. Now, do you think I love you, but I cannot really, because I love you, I am a loving God. I cannot really punish you. Is it really true? Is it really approvable by human nature? And if something wrong, if something is really exploiting innocent people, everybody in the world, regardless of their belief, they say, this man must be stopped and punished for the injustice he did. Everybody. That is what God is presenting and letting us know this sense of qadab is from me, and you use it in the right way. So, of course, Moses is practicing it. Now, قال بئس ما خلفتموني من بعدي أعجلتم أمر ربي. Now, he claimed, you have followed a foul and evil course in my absence. It means now speaking to his brother. And maybe we can say but in the following of the section, we will say that he will take Aaron, his brother, as his, how do you say, acting on his absence. He was responsible for the society appointed by the prophet. Now, it is an extremely important subject. I know we are talking a lot about one verse only, but what shall I do? The verse is directly related to my life, and I must be very comfortable. How can I apply it to my life? I'm not Aaron. I'm not the brother of the prophet, but Khalef Tumuni. This word must remind you something. Khalifa is the same word. Coming after me. In my absence, it said, but the translation says, in my absence, it means after me as representing my message. Now, huge responsibility is left on us. Why? How? Now, the prophet came, the message came, and it is presented to us, and we know it. Now we agreed with it, and we picked it up. We are happy with it. Fine. Very good. All right. But there are lots of things that are going on in the world. Wrong. What are we doing? People do injustice. Lots of injustice is going on. What are we doing? Especially injustice, not necessarily that exploiting a person, exploiting another person's innocent weakness, poverty, being poor, cannot defend himself, and utilizing their, for example, some people may not have legal status in this part of the world, and was okay. Well, they cannot really go and complain to the court because they have no ID card here. They are not citizens. They have no right to be here. First of all, they cannot go to the court and say anything. So, okay, exploit him or her as much as possible. we have to do something. I have to take a side. That is simple. That is the practical, very practical thing, but essentially injustice is something to do with not doing justice to God, the creator of the universe, saying that, hey, who are you? The universe exists by itself. What are you doing? Coming to my house and saying that, hey, get out of it. This house is mine. What do you do? The universe it belongs to its creator. And an atheist or a person who doesn't want to submit himself to the creator says, oh, this universe has no owner. Get out of here. I'm going to use it as I want. Isn't that the same? One person may do injustice to another person. That is a local, individual event. If a person says this house of the universe has no owner, get out of here, in his treatment of my house, well, I'm going to use it as I want. It is my house. No, you are not the owner. I'm going to use it, and starts using it freely. What do you feel? Now God says, I'm very angry with you. I have to take precautions. I have to teach you. What you are doing is wrong. So nowadays, what we do, we call the police and try to defend ourselves as much as possible. In America, of course, they say, don't call the police. It means use the authority. This is practical. We do it. If there's something wrong going on in the house, I came home and I saw my door is open. Oh, I left it locked. Somebody broke into it. So I see some noises are going on in my house. It was empty. What I do first, call 911. Why? It must be stopped. I would say, okay, man, I love you. Take whatever you want. Use it whatever you want. I can stay in the street. Who says this? Who says this? Of course, denial is the biggest crime. And God says, I'm very angry with them. I have to do something. So I cannot let it go. Impossible. You understand? How we should read the Qur'an? God is going to punish you in the hereafter. No. Yeah, it must be so, but this is not the way the anger should be understood. God will say, look, I am the owner of the universe. You said, I am not the owner of the universe. So the universe is really working or doing something, producing something by itself. Look, naturally happening. Okay, God says, look, in the hereafter, God will not come and saying that, okay, take something from my kitchen. Why? You said you are not the owner of the kitchen. So in the hereafter, if not the owner of the kitchen, what was it? Nature. Oh, go and ask nature, it will feed you. All right? Bye-bye. The Quran says, وَإِنَّهُمْ الرَّبِّ يَوْمَئِذٍ وَإِنَّهُمْ عَنْ رَبِّهِمْ يَوْمَئِذٍ لَمَحْجُوبُونَ. I think, or if I may remember wrong, they will be completely deprived of God's mercy there. Okay? Let them entertain themselves. Everything happens by itself. Okay, now you are hungry, you need food. Okay, food. You said food exists by itself. Okay, ask food to exist by itself and you benefit from it. Okay, bye-bye. That is what God said. I'm not going to look at you. I'm not going to have any relationship with me because you denied it. So it is described in the Quran. God is hungry in order to understand that the existence of hell really is justice and must be. Hell must exist to establish the justice against injustice. So if someone takes over my house, I go to court and take him, and the police comes and take him out of my house. Now, instead of I am living in the street, he will be living in the street. Because this is justice. So who says, oh, look at this administration, or look at this police power. Put this man in the street. Oh, come on, it is not mercy. Who says this? Who says this? The most atheist, optimum atheist. Can you claim this? Yeah, this man, you know, how ruthless this police put the man out, left it in the street. And innocent owner of the house is replaced in his house. Who says this? That's how we should understand God's adab. Though in the Fatiha we say, غَيْرِ الْمَغْضُوبِ عَلَيْهِمْ. Yes, there are some people who will deserve God's anger. Of course, this man took over my house and claimed that I'm not the owner of it, is put now in the street with no house at all. Doesn't it sound justice? That is ghadab. That's in the language of the Quran. In order to really say, tell me that God definitely revenges according to your attitude. So he will now say, okay, man, this poor guy, the owner of the house, okay, you go out, this poor guy should live in this house. Huh? Who says this? Who says this? But you know, merciful God, he shouldn't, this God, this justice system shouldn't put in this man in this. Who says this? I don't understand. But the way we present the Quran, really, most of the time, doesn't make sense. It means this Khalaftumuni, the people like me who inherited the caliphate, acted on behalf of Islam, and as Aaron did, we are not doing our duty. How? We are not going to really push people and punish people, kill people. No, we are not representing Khilafah. We are not representing Islam in my life. It's horrible. I'm not representing Islam in my behavior, in my understanding. So I have to see my position here as Moses, the prophet Moses, got angry with him, the prophet Muhammad, alayhi salatu wassalam, will be angry with me. You understand? Because I left you this beautiful religion, book, life, way of life. How did you represent it? So you can say, oh man, I am Aaron, and the Prophet Muhammad is now in the story that I'm reading here in verse 150, Prophet Moses. Okay. Uh, Moses said, have you abandoned your Lord's commandments? Yeah, now the Prophet Muhammad will say, have you abandoned my Quran? You never studied and claimed to be Muslim. Huh? Have you just abandoned it? And he got angry. And then said, I'm not going to befriend your friend. So I will be in paradise. I don't know where you will be. So this is another problem now. وَأَلْقَى الْأَلْوَاحَ. He threw down the tablets. What does it mean? Left the tablets alone, aside. Why? While I am angry, disappointed, grieved, I should not try to teach revelation to people. Now throwing down the tablets, not abandoning the guidance from God, but I shouldn't present it, or I shouldn't really convey the message while I am angry. I shouldn't get engaged into any dispute, any discordance, argumentation with anger. I have to calm down. The following verse will say it. Well, not this one, but 154 will say it. When he came down, he picked up the tablets, and the Quran will say, we will study there. We will study. It's interesting things are going on in the, how to say, between the lines of the verses. No, we have to read between the lines. So what the message is really for me. So if you get excited, if I get excited, if I'm angry with the person, he said, Islam is a terrorist religion. Oh, how can you say this? Go out the street, shut it down with somebody, something, some people. No, leave it aside. Because you cannot defend while you are angry. You cannot preach while you are angry. So he left the tablets and seized his brother by the head, dragging him. So what? Now I'm going to treat you with my real feelings now, without taking notes of how the tablets revelation teaches me how to convey the message to others. But what the Quran says, call people to the truth with the best of language, tongue. With the best of tongue. That is one verse meaning, a piece of the verse. Another one, if they say something wrong, if they do something wrong, you do with the better one. Respond it back with the better one. Not equal, better. So I don't remember the original verses I have to try to remember. And nowadays, you don't have to remember. Google remembers it for you. So it is not the right time to search for these verses. So we have to now continue now. Arguing in the best way. While you are angry, you cannot argue in the best way. You want to overcome, do even more. So that is a good thing. And seized his brother by the head, dragging him. So the Aaron said, son of my mother. So it means, it is an expression, Ibn Ummi. Ibn Ummi, but Gale Ibn Ummi, because of the grammatic position, Ibn Ummi. So Ibn Ummi, explains to him, I mean, we are not strangers to each other. We are from the same mother. We are brothers. Why this expression is used here? Rather than saying that, oh, my brother in Islam, oh, my brother in Qur'an, oh, my, no, Ibn Ummi, no. Speaks to the Aaron now, speaks to his very human sense, saying that I'm your brother, man. I agreed with you. I joined you in your struggle so far, but I am your brother. We have the same mother. Used this way. In the life of the Prophet, we see this as well, the practice. Most severe positions in a war, the Prophet called people, I am the son of Abu Talib. What does it mean? Hey, Abu Talib was your leader. I am his son. And then I am the Rasulullah. Why? And he called people not all believers, because there was a turmoil in the war conditions, and people started running away from the Prophet's physical being, and Prophet was left almost alone. So he said, oh, immigrants, Muhajir, oh, Ansar, or the people of Medina, look, with their physical attachments, he called them exactly here. Aaron is saying, son of my mother, rather than saying, oh, Muslim brother. Okay, these people overpowered me, explaining now, and almost killed me. So I tried my best. When the prophets try their best and the people still oppose them, in the examples that the Quran presents to us, we see the prophet is taken away from the community, saved. And then the community is punished. That is why Aaron should not be killed by the people. If he insisted, they would, because they love going back to their old or previous culture. That's what we do. When we ignore the teachings of the Quran, when we cut off our relationship with the teachings of the Quran, what do? We go back to our tradition, cultural tradition, not Islamic tradition, cultural tradition. And that will be our comfort zone. So, as the Prophet left, people went back to their cultural background, worshipping something else rather than God, physical gods. Like we discussed this. We said, what is this calf represents? For me, the answer was everybody may have different calves if they have. Some of them profession, some of them money, some of them, I don't know, the best car, best house, best food, best clothing, best appearance. Yeah, everybody has different calf. That is previous culture. Now the revelation came and said, best example is the prophetic example, and best position is being the worshiper of God, rather than worshiping fashion, blah, blah, lots of artificial worldly powers. So you see, the verse is really very much directly related to our life. So people overpowered me and almost killed me, so I shouldn't let myself be killed. Don't let my enemies rejoice at my suffering. Yeah. So at the end, again, said, فلا تشمت بالأعداء ولا تجعلني مع القوم الظالمين, and don't count me among the unjust people. So don't let my enemies rejoice at my suffering. So if we fight between ourselves because of our mistakes, what they do, for example, this very really insignificant but politically somehow effective dispute between Shiite and Sunni. Okay, what happens? The first thing you see from people who have bad intention, not good intention, about understanding what Islam is, they say, what is your religion, man? I said, Islam. What does it teach you? Who are these Shiites, Sunnites? Why are they fighting? It means your religion couldn't really unite people, but he doesn't know that we pray in the same way, we read the same Qur'an, and we turn to the same Kaaba, and we go on pilgrimage to the same place, Kaaba, and we also call Allahu Akbar. They call Allahu Akbar. Yeah, but they love Imam Ali because of this conflict historically happened between two people, two groups of people. So political side is different. One of them supports Republicans, the other one supports Democrats, etc. It is not that simple, but taking the political, but all of them are American citizens, aren't they? So do we say that? What is the American culture says? Are you Democrats or Republicans? Depending your tendency, you took one political attitude. Now, according to you, this is important, but this is not related to the essentials of religion. But they take this opportunity to say that your religion, okay, we can say your secular society couldn't unite people, you know. There are many arguments in political area. But when the trouble comes, all American citizens support American interests. So even the parliament, they fight with each other, two groups, but there is a war conditions, they all unite. if the country, according to the conditions of this world. Now, if the country is under threat, do they still go on fighting about political disagreements? No, they unite. So that is why we have to really harm each other and make ourselves look ridiculous in the eyes of the enemies of the truth. So we have to calm down and don't accuse each other as the وَلَا تَجْعَلْنِي مَعَ الْقَوْمِ الظَّالِمِينَ. Don't count me among the unjust people. I didn't do an unjust. They didn't listen to me. Almost they were going to kill me, so that I withdrew from them. And they went on doing wrong. I think this beautiful verse, as all of them seem to be so not related to my real life, but there are some ayat. Organizers, people keep criticizing the Quran because of this. For example, inheritance ayat, organizing, putting in an order which seems to be very just, in fact, according to believers' society. Unbelievers' society, it looks injustice. So we have to understand this. But within the believer society, it perfectly works. But people put Qur'an's way of life and apply it to unbelieving people, not people who have God consciousness, and say that it doesn't work. Of course it doesn't work. They don't have God consciousness. Of course. Because these rules work perfectly if the people have God consciousness. Yeah, for example, let's say stealing is wrong, isn't it? Okay. Do you have to hear from the Quran to say that don't steal? No, people say, I don't need to hear it. It is already within me. And even the most atheist says, not most of the atheists, the very, very atheist, 100% atheist, if there is such a person in the world. Or that person also says, it is stealing is wrong. Okay, the Quran says stealing is wrong. What is the difference? Immense difference. Immense difference. I would say it has nothing to do with the reality of this ruling, stealing is wrong. In secular society, stealing is wrong because you shouldn't take my property and declare that it is yours in an unjust way. All right. Quran says, no. Don't steal from God's property. Don't take the property God assigned to the usage of benefit of person A. And you are saying, no, it must be mine. It is against God's will, God's organization, God's order. This is God consciousness. Who owns the property? Yes, this house is mine. God says, shh, it is mine. It is mine. And I have assigned the house to serve you. All right. Somebody takes my house, example, steals it. Can you steal the house? Yeah. Yes, you can steal the deed of the house and write it on your name. And you have stolen my house. That's why people insure the deeds. That's the reason. Somebody must have did something wrong. All right. Afshan, be careful. Let me wait, be patient, I was going to say. Be patient. Let me complete this very disputed subject. I don't need revelation to teach me that I shouldn't steal. Quran says don't steal because this man is using my property. It is my right to assign who is going to use it. And when you steal it, you are not transgressing only the right of the person. Mainly, you are transgressing the will of the Creator. You are not acknowledging the Creator's ownership of this house. Not only acknowledging the ownership of this man. Be careful. Perspective, focus point is completely different. One of them is focusing on, zooming on man-to-man relationship. Qur'an is zooming on man-to-God relationship. It has nothing to do with it. But the practical sense says stealing is wrong. Of course, I am not stealing because I acknowledge God as the real owner. A secular person doesn't steal, that is good, because he is acknowledging the ownership of this man. Nothing to do with God. The Quran is asking me not to steal in order to acknowledge the reality of existence. Secular system acknowledges, prohibits the stealing because nothing to do with the reality of existence, social life. So while the Quran is offering, last sentence, Afshan, while the Quran is offering me not to steal, establish God's right. As an outcome of it, in practical life, God's right is respected. He gave me this house in my usage, and I am using it. So if a person took it from me, as far as I am concerned, he is transgressing my right. As far as God is concerned, he is transgressing God's right. In secular society, at the relationship level between person A and person B, we agree. But the purpose of the Quran is not only this. This is just a practical, transient, the conditions of this transient world. God's offer is something to do a permanent life, not a transient life. Petty transactions between this house is yours or this house is mine. It is a petty, but it is something, but it's the petty. But if someone doesn't have God consciousness, they cannot think that Quran's purpose is eternal, infinite, permanent. Secular society's interest is, focus is transient. Great difference. I hope, as I am excited, this kind of secrets of revelation, I hope it touches your heart as well, inshallah. That is Quran. That is how the Quran must be read, man. That is, I'm really a little bit disappointed. Now it is what we are doing. Afshan, go ahead. Thank you very much for your patience.
Doctor, I wanted to make sure I understand correctly the part that says, do not let my enemies rejoice at my suffering. What I understood is that we should prevent infighting in the community, or even when we disagree, to do respectfully, so that enemies do not rejoice at our how to say it, lack of unity in the community, like to disagree without destroying the unity. Did I get it right?
Yeah. Because of these petty matters, small matters, we should we should not forget our main fundamental common ground, belief in God. I mean, even if I make a mistake, you should not fight with me. Just try to correct me, help me, but don't say that, for example, Shiite people are not Muslims, really. Look, look, look. You see? And for the Shiite people, speak to the Shiite people, say that, look, don't say that Sunnites are nothing, Sunnites have nothing to do with Islam. No, say my political view is different from yours. That's it, man. Fundamentals are common. We read the same Quran, don't we? We study the same Quran. We want to follow the same Quran in our life. But for any reason, for emotional reason, I don't know. Maybe some people really manipulated my mind and said, Shiite people are wrong, Sunnite people are wrong, but they think as if we believe in different things, the other people. So they say, ha ha, look at these Muslims, they fight with each other. Look at these Christians. What is this Catholicism, Protestantism, Latin, Presbyterian, Baptists? Which kind of religion is it? No, no. People disagree in defining who Jesus was, in defining what human beings, people's attitude towards Bible. It means whether you should study it or no. If you are not an expert, don't mess up with it. That's an interpretation. So neither we should really make fun of Christianity because they have, in America, but this is reality, but I don't accuse Christianity because of this. There are more than 3,000 denominations. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that seems to be. Every church is his own saint, etc., etc. It means priorities. Well, it doesn't mean that they don't have any common denomination. So they shouldn't fight. We shouldn't fight between us. If somebody follows, let's say, Hanafi school of thought, or Ash'ari Hanafi school of practice, Ash'ari school of thought, Maturidi school of thought, all right, that's your opinion. All right, man. We believe in one God, don't we? We follow the Quran. Okay, but in this shallow, small matters, I pray in this way, you pray in this way. But we pray, it means we are worshiping the same God. But while we are worshiping, I do this, you do that. So what? It's a physical things. Why do you keep arguing about it? So we have to be careful as well. These narration between Moses and Aaron going on is for me too. Well, as far as the Qur'an's teaching is concerned, Aaron is a prophet as well. Can you imagine two prophets are fighting with each other? Everyone said, ha, 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 ha. No, they will make fun of us. So, because hot-tempered Moses got angry and accused his brother was innocent and really guided Moses, helped Moses, saying that, hey, be careful what we are doing. So our enemies are rejoicing at our fighting. Hey, stop it, man. Stop it. That is what we should do. A Shiite comes and talks about against Sunnite and makes fun of it. Said, look at these people, it's wrong. Say, hey, man, what are they doing? Now, take the position of Aaron. That's what the Quran is presenting to us. Don't attack each other. Okay? You may speak calmly. Okay, that prophet Moses is going to do, inshallah. I thought if we could finish this verse, alhamdulillah, today. Some people may feel very bored, but if I don't refer how these verses are related to our life, give practical examples, I would feel impossible. I cannot do it. I would be doing injustice to the perfectness of the Quran. I cannot do it. What happened between Moses and Aaron? And Aaron said this, Moses did this, threw the tablets. You know, the prophet is throwing the Qur'an. Can you imagine? What does it mean? Well, it's so simple. While you are arguing angrily, you should not bring evidence from this Qur'an. Look, you are not the correct believers. God says in the Quran, verse number, chapter number, the section number, they say usually surah number this, verse number this, you are wrong. It is absolutely contrary to this teaching of this verse. What's going on in the world? These verses have almost no ground in our life. I cannot just ignore the beauty of the message, practicality of the message, and very constructive side of the message to my life right now. I cannot treat the Quran in a cheap way. You know, generally like this. No, I cannot do that. Every word, I cannot blame that. I can do it. But if I had studied the Quran from the very beginning, as seriously as I'm lately studying, every word we should spend an hour. Every word. So beautiful, full of meaning and message. I say, this can only be the speech of the Creator. But if I presented this story as something happened in the life of the Moses, and there was a time they started arguing, but Moses calmed down. He was very angry. And his brother begged him not to do this because I am being really very belittled and worse situation, the position in the eyes of the people among us. Please keep this argument between ourselves not there, so our enemies should not rejoice. So they said this, you know, that is a wonderful story. What did you get from it? I learned what happened in the story of Moses. So I can teach it to the other Muslims. You know what happened? I mean, this is really unacceptable for me. Impossible. Impossible. This way of reading the Quran is not right at all. At least not just. Quran doesn't deserve to be studied and read in this way. No. We have to watch out, inshallah. Bismillah ar-Rahman. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم وآخر دعواهم أن الحمد لله